across the screen on Pro Tools or
Look at the
GarageBand.
waves. Look at the waves on that. Strong waves. Here we go. All right, let's bring it in. Hone it in. Episode 122 of the Masters in Creation podcast, where everyone is a master of their own creation. Our guest today, man, very, very interesting. Guys, the first time I'm, getting to sit down and talk to him, and I'm very excited about that. He is a DJ, super creative dude, a radio host, hosts his own radio show, out of us, CMU, which is like, super dope, which is like a lot of super dope Pittsburgh talent. We got Kingston Cox, a.k.a. Big Cashew, in the fucking building. What's going on, bro?
Yeah.
Yes, Sirski, bro. Pleasure to meet you, man.
Likewise.
Yeah, man. No, just even in my research, and like I was even like talking to Mike, I was like, "Yo, bro, like I'm excited to sit down with this dude. Like it just feels like you got your hands in just like so much eclectic stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
I can't wait to hear just your journey and like what brought you to like these outlets and like kind of like what drives you, what inspires you. You know what I mean? Just so you kind of peel the layers. Excuse me, back a little bit. So, bro, yeah, where are you from? Like, are you from Pittsburgh or?
Yeah. Lived here my whole life.
Okay.
I lived in Lawrenceville for a few years with like my grandmother and like my parents. Like we all lived there like for first couple of years, and then we moved out to Brookline. And I was like 5 or 6.
Yeah, facts. And then just like how I was growing up in Brookline and Lawrenceville, like just from
It's
like what you
chill.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I have clearly Lawrenceville very different even from when I was younger. And
how's it changed? Like just like more buildings, like
like way more like new businesses.
Yeah, facts. Yeah,
yeah,
sense,
like I don't want to throw around the gentrified.
Yeah,
course,
the G word.
The G word. Yeah. But yeah, and then Brookline's pretty much this more or less the same.
Yeah.
I will say there's definitely more things happening in Brookline on like Brookline Boulevard, like that business district, but it's not like gentrified businesses like in Lawrenceville. It's like
shit you can use like just like actually productive businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Facts. Okay. Word. So I know your dad is also a DJ, man. So just kind of going back, bro. Like if you can remember, man, like how instrumental was he in you starting DJing? And just like what role did he play in like you getting started?
Yeah, I mean, as big a role as one can play, really.
Right. Yeah. Facts. Right.
I mean, I just. Like some of my earliest memories are like him just like taking me to the record store and like sometimes he would like hand me records, but like he'd just let me like run around and whatnot. I have a picture. I would pull it up later. We can throw it in the edit or whatever. This at this like outdoor party. I'm maybe like 3 or 4, and my dad's DJ, and he lets me get up and they're just like play with like the EQ knobs on the mixer and stuff. Like those my first gig.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And then I don't know. By the time I was like 5, maybe. Once I was at the record store with him, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to pick out a record this time.
Dolo, or like he was like like you were gonna pick out a record by yourself, or like with like your dad kind of like guiding you, were like watching over.
That's what. Yeah. Okay. Now that I think about it, I'm sure he,
Sure.
encouraged
Right.
me.
Yeah.
But he was like,
right.
just go and pick something.
Right,
See if you find something cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the record that I picked was Delirious by Prince.
Wow.
So
that's like what you were drawn to off the rip. Like, was it like the album cover probably?
Well, yeah. So it's it's a 12-inch single. It's not a full album. It's just like the one song on one side and then like the instrumental on the other. And yeah, honestly, it was literally it was in just like a plain white sleeve, and it just had like Prince's name written out. Have you ever seen like the cover for 1999?
Yeah. Like in that font. Or copy, right.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that looks cool.
Right.
And I listened to it. I was like, well, I like this. So
yeah, facts.
I'm gonna go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. And it's just like as far as like your dad, like he liked the old school vinyl on the.
For sure, yeah. I mean,
word.
that's how you started.
That's how you learn. No, that's.
Well, I didn't learn to like mix until like not until I got to
much
college.
later. Sure, yeah.
But so that's what like I assume like when I was thinking about things you might ask me, I was like, he's probably gonna ask like when did I start DJing?
Yeah, right.
And I would say I started mixing in college.
Okay.
But I've been DJing my whole life because I've been just like
no. I mean,
songs,
bro, like
building up a collection.
Dog.
Just thinking about how tracks make me feel, and like anytime like I was with like my friends, and it was like, yo, who wants to put on music? I would be annoying about it too. Looking back, I was like, oh my god, I'm sure that was really
Here come
annoying
Kingston
with it. But
trying
like,
to, I mean, no, bro, like, I was kind of like in the same vein as well, just because like I love music.
Yeah.
So like in, just like those type of settings, I'm always first to volunteer. Like, yo, if there's no nigga on aux, I will be on aux. Like, you know what I mean? I'll man the duty. You know what I mean? Like, you peeping over, see if people nod their head while you're on the fucking phone, like, see you doing a good job or shit. Like, you've been in those situations.
Yeah. I feel like I've always just craved that feeling of just like playing music for people and hoping they rock out with it. So
definitely, bro. And like, was DJing just like your main outlet? Would you say, like, were you even interested like in any other creative things when you were younger? Like, was it just pretty much strictly DJing, music that kind of like captured your attention?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I like to just I like to draw in school, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
just like I had fun in like art classes, like learning how to paint and stuff. But like in terms of just like stuff on my own, it was mostly just music.
Okay.
I did for a little bit. I was kind of into like stop motion animation.
Dope. Okay.
So like, if you remember those like Lego movies on YouTube back in the day, I made a couple of those.
That's crazy. And like that, and like because stop motion in particular, man, it's pretty tedious, bro. Because you have to do the frame by frame shots and set up everything.
Super
tedious,
bro. Yeah, I remember my first one. I took pictures for like an hour. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so good."
Yeah, and
it was like 6 seconds of footage. I was like,
I'm like, and how long is this? Is a 6-minute video.
Yeah,
got you. And that was only 5 seconds. Okay, got you. Understood. Yeah,
exactly. Like all my, I posted. None of them exist on YouTube anymore. I took them all down. But, like the first few are like a minute long, like 30 seconds long. Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, just like only reason I asked because like I feel like I low key knew the answer prior to even like writing that down, because like I feel like anyone in whatever creative field that they are in, like I guess like their nuclear creative thing is like what they fuck with, like what drives them, but like I doubt it's the only thing that they're into creatively, like just to keep like the juices flowing, like inspiration. Like, do you, I don't know, just like what kind of inspires you artistically, like just outside of music, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, I love movies. My parents are both big movie heads for sure.
Okay, word.
I mean, just while I'm on the subject, both my parents. I definitely got music from my mom too.
Okay, word. Yeah, okay.
Like she likes a lot of like great old soul stuff. I had definitely learned to appreciate Anita Baker from my mom. She's a big Anita Baker fan.
Anita, and shout out to your mom for even showing you Anita. That's dope as hell. Like, nah, shout out to that. And like, that is a timeless, songstress right there. So does your mom DJ as well, or?
No, she's a writer though.
Dope,
and
okay.
I feel I'm 100% certain I picked up like some of my talent for writing
Absolutely,
from her.
right,
yeah. 100%. Yeah. So she had a blog. I'm not sure if she still posts on it anymore.
Does she like write like books or anything like that, or?
Say again?
Has she like written like any books or anything like that? Like, what is she like?
No books. She's written like articles in newspapers.
Okay, dope, okay.
Yeah, pretty sure no books.
Yeah,
I hope so.
She has a whole fucking series out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, facts. Okay, word. So as far as like the type of music that like you DJ, like I read that it was like a garage style, and like there's a like a term for people that fuck with like the music that you DJ, the junglists.
Yes.
Yeah, and like that was like a whole subculture that I got introduced to. So I know just from my, again, small limited knowledge, I know like garage style music, it was popularized in the UK. Am I mistaken in that, or?
Yeah, so
okay.
So there's UK garage,
right,
and then there's garage from America, which like you could call it US garage, but like to me, if you just say garage, I'll assume you're talking about America. If you say UK garage,
yeah, okay, right.
But yeah, so American garage comes from the Paradise Garage in New York, and that was Larry Levan. That was kind of spawned from like his style of DJing. And then as people who were going to that club and other DJs would hear him play, they started making their own music. That eventually kind of got its own particular style. So yeah, that was big in New York and New Jersey too.
Right. Yeah.
And during that time, late 80s, 90s, the world was becoming even more interconnected, and so the UK was getting all those records and stuff. People were ordering them, and yeah, they started to make like their own.
Okay, so it was popularized in New York, and then it made its way over to like the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, word. All right.
It's sort of around the same time the UK started to get techno. which was coming from Detroit, as well as acid house from Chicago.
Right.
So they were getting like all these like brand new innovative American dance genres, all in their one like pretty tiny country, and mostly unlike London.
Right. Yeah.
And some of the other cities as well, but really big in London. And that sort of like kicked off their rave scene, which the UK is kind of responsible for raves as we know them today.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
And yeah, like from I think acid house was probably like the biggest inspiration for jungle music.
Okay.
So like as it started to speed up, and they started adding drum break samples over it, and they started to kind of have like those rave piano chords. And then, later on they get the, Jamaican sound clash inspiration.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, right. Wheel it up, my selector, And yeah, that's my favorite stuff is like the mid 90s jungle.
Okay.
Just like big bass lines, fast as hell, a lot of chopped up breaks. Like you don't even know what's going on with the drums.
Yeah, right. I mean, just like even in like that whole, just like going on like another branch of like the techno housey, garage scene, like, it's even nowadays, like, house music is seeing a resurgence. Not a resurgence, but, like, it's getting, like, it's building
it's way more mainstream than it's ever been.
Exactly. But just even on that same note, a lot of, like, this stuff, like, people are, going back to because of, like, this new house movement, like, the 90s and like you said, the 80s, which was a big time for this type of music. Like, I think, like, the huge one, which everyone knows, like, by now, like, it's been sampled everywhere is, Jesus, I am blanking. Crystal Waters.
Gypsy Woman.
Thank you. You know what I mean? She's all, like
those
that whole
chords,
joint.
Those opening chords.
Like iconic, bro. Yeah. Like, and like, just like, even like the chorus, like that.
Yeah. They sample that in like they sample that in Jersey Club a lot. The Jersey Club kids love that.
Funny enough, the first time I heard that sample ever, just like apart from like this like whole resurgence, bro, was, the song Why You Wanna by T.I.?
No, not familiar.
A little bit of like a deeper cut, but
yeah,
but like I heard like I liked the song and like I was like, yo, like this beat is fire, and then I heard Gypsy Woman, like I was like, yo, wait a minute, what the fuck? And then like I was like, and like I did like my back research, and I was like, yo, but this like the original song is even crazier than what T.I. was doing. So like that was like the first time like I heard it, and like that was years ago. I was probably like 13, 14, you know what I mean? So like damn near like, 10 years later, or like 10 plus years later, excuse me, like it's, again, TikTok is like a huge, reason for that resurgence, but like, house music and like, Drake even tried to like take a stab at, like with his old house album, and like a lot of people fuck with K Tronada. Beyonce tried, you know what I mean? But like, I think like people like K Tronada and like, people that are in those, like I saw Zach Fox did a set.
Yeah, like, Zach Fox knows what's up.
Zach Fox, I'll fuck with Zach Fox just because like he's mad, like he's just mad creative, and like I just fuck with his creativity. Like obviously, like if you've been paying attention to his career for like a while, I first got familiar with him on Twitter, straight up. Like I was just following his Twitter. Mike actually put me on a song of his, "Fuck Around and Find Out," and I was like, this nigga makes music. I was like, oh shit. Then I see the niggas in Abbott Elementary. I'm like, damn, like, shout out to you. And now he's fucking DJing, like, pretty much wherever he wants. So I'm just like, yo, I'll fuck with you. Like you're, like, that's just, like, genuine. Like, you can't even help, like, just, like, being that creative. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, just, like, speak to your point about, it's like the resurgence of, like, house and garage and everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about Zach Fox.
Yeah,
like, he's just tapped into like so much stuff and like has good sensibilities on things.
Agree,
and
bro.
like when I saw him first like DJing, and he was like I don't even know which set I saw, but I was like, who's this like internet joker he's DJing? But like I can't even hate on it because he plays good tracks.
Thanks. No, bro, people fuck with what Zach Fox, but like what and as they should, super dope dude, super talented dude, but. Yeah, man. I mean, just kind of going back to to the question. Like, what drew you to the garage style initially? Like, how did you like even find out about it?
So my dad DJ'd both jungle and UK garage.
Dope. Okay.
Back in the day. Want to make clear they're both very different sonically.
Okay.
By the time you get to that point, but
so like, what would you say? Like, just like before you get to like, what would you say like is like the big marked difference between the two?
Well, yeah, so jungle's much faster. Jungle's usually like 150, 160, 170 BPM. like UK garage usually hovers around like 130 BPM.
Interesting. Okay.
And like UK garage doesn't do as much like choppy drum breaks the way jungle does. They kind of have more like very sharp and like staccato drum hits, but they're like they use a feature on the MPC called swing to kind of like push off the notes. So it's like very funky. It's got like a really unique groove.
Interesting. You might have to put me on to some shit, bro, because like,
sure,
I don't think I've even dived into like this genre of music before.
No, I'll definitely show you some stuff out of
Word,
the show.
Definitely, for sure.
And jungle just way faster, like chopping up the break beats. Like, I'm sure you might know the Amen break. It's been sampled a bit. Do you know Straight Outta Compton by MWA?
Yeah. Facts.
That's the drums in that song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
it's the most sampled, I think, song of all time.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Wait, for real? Straight Outta Compton is?
No. The drum break that's on it.
Oh,
so
copy. No. You're good. Okay,
no,
but word.
So it's a song called Amen Brother by the Winstons.
Interesting. Okay,
it's an old Soul 45 from back in the day.
Okay.
It's the B side of the record. They
damn.
Yeah.
It's a pretty deep cut. Like like the B side of like a oldies record is crazy.
Yeah, they had recorded whatever the lead song was, and they were just like, we need something for the B side, so they just did. I think Amen Brother is like a jazz standard of some sort.
Okay.
So they just like recorded their version of that.
Yeah.
And there's just that like legendary like 8 or 9 seconds of that like crazy drum break, and it's been sampled across like every genre of electronic music.
I believe it. Yeah.
Every genre.
Facts.
So yeah.
So like pretty much just like your dad putting you on. Like, what was like your first initial like? What music did you like prior to being introduced? Not that like I'm sure like that's not all you listen to, but like what was in your rotation prior to being introduced to garage? Like were you just pretty much open to all music? Like
I mean, well, so my first love was hip hop.
Okay, word
for sure.
Yeah.
I remember early on my dad played Jay Dilla for me a lot. The Donuts album.
There you go. Fuck with Dilla, heavy, bro.
Yeah,
dog. When I first fucking discovered Dilla, bro, I'm just like, dude, this is all I want. Like his beats, bro. I'm just like, I fuck with every one of your beats. Like I don't think there's a beat I don't. I just love like
never heard a Dilla beat where I was like, oh, this ain't that good.
Dog,
like
facts.
Every single, even just like the most basic ones, just like the loops that got released after his death. They're like just all so good.
Or just on some like just chill. Like I'm just like, damn, bro. Like and like you said, like when I discovered you passed, I was like, damn, that fucking sucks. But shout out to Dilla, bro.
Shout out to Dilla, yeah. So that was big inspiration early on. Not hip hop, but Kraftwerk. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I'm not.
German, like electronic, like real funky. Their music has been sampled a lot by. Do you know Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa?
Yeah.
The
facts.
in the chorus, that's a Kraftwerk song. That's
okay. And like I think I even maybe like watched like a hip hop.
It's like Trans Europe Express.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be real embarrassed if I look back. I got some of this shit wrong. But
nah, you're good, bro. Bro, I begin shit wrong on here all the fucking time, bro. Yeah. So it is all good. But no, I mean, bro, like that makes a lot of sense. And like bro, like even like you said, like just like that era of hip hop sampled so much stuff from just like techie, like 80s, 70s stuff from, like European records, like shit from like across the way, where it's just like you had to be a real crate digger and like music nerd to really pick the drums out of fucking Compton. Like, that era of sampling, I mean, well, like sampling in general, it fucking baffles me, bro. I'm just like, yo, how, but like, especially back then, like someone like Dr. Dre, bro, could hear a trumpet from like a song in 72 and just take the drums from another song in 81 and fucking fuse them and just make a whole fucking, I'm just like, that is it, like to take the drums and then I don't even know how you do all that, bro. So when you first got introduced to the genre, like I don't know, like what was the connection? We're just like, yo, I'm gonna just fuck around and DJ this style of music.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. I had heard both like garage and jungle like prior to the lockdown.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, like hip hop was my first love.
Right.
And I also want to mention Wu-Tang was like one of my favorite initial hip hop acts.
There you go, yeah.
And so like, I was listening to like a lot of the old stuff my dad was putting me on. But then I'd go see what my friends at school were listening to, and I'd listen to that stuff too. You know, I'm a big fan of like Vince Staples,
Word. Okay.
Tyler the Creator. I mean Kendrick, of course.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, so I was listening. I still listen to hip hop. I still love hip hop. Big hip hop fan still.
Facts.
But I heard a hip hop song maybe just like a few months into lockdown that had kind of like a jungle style beat on it.
What was it?
It was, the song is called "This Is Not a Drill." The artist is Eyes. It's spelled IZE.
Okay.
It wasn't like a big tune. I think my friend Dominic sent it to me.
Okay,
Shout out to Dom.
Word up.
I know he's probably gonna watch, so I'm gonna send it to him. And yeah, so like I remember I had heard like, you know, I had heard my dad play like jungle style stuff before. Like I was looking back on my iPod that I had from like second grade, and that had a Photech album on it.
Okay, word.
So I was like, okay, like I had heard something like this before. I just hadn't thought about it in a while. But
facts.
and he put me on to like some classic records that he had in his collection. And then after that, I used the internet to my advantage. I just kind of like went on a tear, just like finding like labels, finding artists, like tracks, mixes, DJs, and yeah, I just got like really invested into it. Tried to learn about, you know, the culture that spawned it.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah, and everything. I was definitely really big into jungle before I got into UK garage, but that it wasn't too much later.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, they kind of, you know, rock hand in hand. So you said like, you know, you were mixing. Like, were you like just only mixing up to this point? Like when you like even like initially got
no,
into
like I said, I didn't mix until lockdown hit my senior year of high school.
Okay, right. Okay.
And so I was just like finding tunes, you know, just trying to play tunes for people when I would get the chance.
Yeah, were you like fucking around, like learning how to DJ at this point, or?
So I just had one turntable in my room.
Okay.
I wouldn't go on to get a second one till later.
Okay.
But so no, not really.
Okay,
it was just like, you know, playing records.
Right, yeah, just like all intake, all like, you
yeah.
know. So like when did you, so like you ain't start mixing until COVID?
Yeah, so
okay, gotcha.
in, I want to say,
like
either like the spring semester of my freshman year of college, which would have been 2021.
Okay.
Or the fall semester, the sophomore year, which would have been, fall 2021. So I'm not exactly sure when, but I joined CMU's radio station, WRCT.
We're definitely going to get into that.
Another shout out, big ups to WRCT, anyone that's ever been a member, anyone that will be a member. Great organization.
Absolutely. And like we're definitely gonna, you know, touch on your you know, like your time there. But when did you start like making an active, like, you know, effort to you know, start DJing?
Yeah, so I think just the year prior they had bought Pioneer CDJ 2000s.
Okay.
And like I didn't have my records with me on campus because, you know, I was living on campus and like, you know, you can't really like, there wasn't much room for like my records.
Right. Yeah. Fast.
So that's why I started like mixing digitally.
Okay. Using what?
So you download Record Box onto your computer.
Okay.
You get, you know, a flash drive. You know, you download some songs. You put it in Record Box, put it in your flash drive, and then it'll work on the CDJs.
Interesting. Okay. And I know what all those words mean.
So yeah. A CDJ, basically, easiest way to think about it is like a digital turntable.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Basically, you can play CDs and like files from a USB.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
So yeah.
CDJ makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So that's when like. Like I said, I had been into like jungle for the better part of like a year by that point.
Right.
I had all these tracks in mind I knew I wanted to play. So that's how I started.
Okay.
Which I think is relatively unconventional. I think most people probably start mixing house because it's slower, like it's easier to learn.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, so I started with jungle.
Okay.
My mixes were really bad. I mean, of course, but I knew my selection was great. So
yeah, I was gonna say from your perspective, like, was it easier for you to just hop in the jungle immediately? Or?
I think so. Like, just because like I just felt so strongly that I want to DJ this. Yeah. Like it's I love walking around just listening to jungle tunes, but it's like it's definitely a music. Like as a DJ, you want to like interact. You want to be interacting with it as much as possible.
Sure, right.
And you know, either you know. There wasn't, you know, like dances going on, you know, because of shutdown. So, that was it, you know. So that was like easiest way for me to interact with that in the way I
definitely
wanted. So,
and like, I know early on, you dropped a couple mixes on SoundCloud. I think like you dropped about like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I have some radio shows uploaded. I need to do a way better job of like digitally archiving my show.
Yeah,
There's like,
what can you do?
Most of them are recorded.
Yeah.
They're just not up anywhere.
Yeah, right. So like, you were talking about like, your initial mixes, like, what, like, was that kind of because like I know, like you said, like, you started mixing before DJing, obviously, but like, were you releasing the mixes after you started learning DJing? Like, was that even still prior?
No, I didn't upload. So I uploaded one track to SoundCloud right before my freshman year. Oh, okay. I didn't mention I also produce music. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, I had uploaded like one track to SoundCloud before like my freshman year of college. I still haven't released anything else, but
in due time, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've been honing in my skills, but yeah, no, I didn't put out like a mix onto the internet until I got my radio show, which I didn't get around to until like my junior year.
Yeah, right. No, that makes a lot of sense. But so just even like, how quick were you on the uptake? I mean, I imagine pretty quick, because like, I mean, like you mentioned like you had been like you started mixing it during COVID, like pretty much DJing like your whole fucking life. But like, how soon, like after like you kind of got your feet under you in that aspect, did you start gigging, performing, like?
Oh man, so my first real gig, like playing for people at a party, it was like a low key thing, but it was at a venue called Eden, which no longer exists. It was on Bates Street in Oakland, like way down. But that was my man Brett's party. They called it Siberia. There it goes, Siberia. So yeah, Brett booked me to play, because I think I'm trying to figure out how I made the connection to Brett, because I didn't know them before that night.
Okay.
But
that might look, just be some college shit, like
it might have been my friend Charlotte. Shout out to Brett and Charlotte. But yeah, like they booked me. I think I just got like the opening slot, right? You know? And it was like a pretty low key party either way. But
was it like a house party? Like, was it like? Actually,
it's in like a basement. It was like a basement, like a nice like South Oakland basement. But they got a decent sound system in there. There were some people that showed up, and they were rocking with me. They didn't know who I was, but I just played like a couple random tunes I wanted to hear. I opened up with like some hip hop. And then I just started playing the jungle.
Did it switch immediately, right? Just like you got to bring people in. It's like nah. I'm playing a whole different vibe.
Make them think it's gonna be safe.
Yeah, exactly. Word. So I'd be like, what were you feeling like after that? Like, I guess that was your first gig. Like,
it was a real big rush. It was a real big rush.
Yeah.
And I had a really great time, and I met Ron Mist that night.
Okay.
He's another great local DJ. Shout out to Ron Mist. He played. So I think this was the night when I like really got into garage, funnily enough.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I had known some UK garage and some American garage before this, of course. Yeah. But he actually played a remix of Say It Right by Nelly Furtado. There you go. And I was like, prior to that, I had not been a fan of pop edits. Okay. Really, I had always thought that was corny.
Yeah.
It still can be, but time and place.
Yeah, right.
But I'd always loved that song. That was my aunt's ringtone back in the day. Say It Right by Nelly Furtado. So I always had a spot in my heart for it. And he just played a really dope remix of that. And
I feel like everyone got a spot in the heart for Nelly Furtado. Like, of course. You know what I mean? Because she got some joy, bro. I guess Say It Right, bro. We got
Promiscuous.
Thank you. Promiscuous Girls, son. And then there's Give It To Me, I think, right? With a Justin Timberlake and her. If you sing us in the club when it acting real, that joint, yeah, my fault. Yeah, y'all did not deserve that. Did I mean to put y'all through that? My fault, but nah, man, shout out to Nelly Furtado, but not to cut you off.
For sure, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I met Ron Mist that night. Fell back in love with garage. Fell in love with pop edits. Word. So that was a first gig. That was a very formative night, I think.
Yeah, did Ron say anything to you about yourself? You just pretty much just dapped him up. Yo, what's going on?
Oh, no. I came up to him. I was really, really excited still about that song. It was maybe an hour later. And I was still thinking about that too. And I was let me know what that is, bro. Yeah. And we followed each other on Instagram. And we've been homies since.
Okay, dope, man. Not for sure. So, just after that, like, are you pretty much like, yeah, like I'm gonna keep fucking around with, like, with the DJing for sure?
Yeah, and I played a lot of parties. WRCT throws parties, like, for members and for students and stuff. And so I was playing with a lot of talented DJs in WRCT. Dope. I mean, of course.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and like we're gonna get into that, but like that just seems like a really dope way to like meet a whole bunch of local talent. Like, absolutely. super dope way, Well,
I mean, not actually a whole lot of Pittsburgh people at CMU, as it turns out.
Okay.
But definitely a lot of people that really like good music.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of WRCT people that stuck around too.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Right.
But yeah, no. I mean, I was playing parties with the homie Charlotte, who DJs. She DJs as Malcolm Threat. A DT who DJs as Lotus Land. Mike who DJs as Mushu. I'm sorry, I'm like blanket, but that's like the first few parties I played with WRCT was with like that crew.
And just even like last question about like your initial night. Anything that may have caught you off guard? It's your first gig DJing. Did it go smoothly? Like, was it pretty cool? Or like, did you kind of have any?
Yeah, no,
hiccups?
there wasn't really any technical hiccups, which is like especially DJing with like digital stuff is like bound to happen.
Yeah, right.
But no, it went pretty smoothly. Hung out after, listening to the other DJs.
How big was the crowd? Do you remember?
I mean, it could have been more than 20 people.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And they packed that venue on good nights.
Yeah,
but that was like a very like, last minute party.
Sure,
but like
right, yeah.
it was a really good vibe, and it was like honestly thankful for how small it was. It was like my first set. I'm sure some of those mixes were not great.
No, I mean, bro, come on, son. I mean, listen.
Yeah.
The first of anything, like, how good is the first of anything? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
right,
like,
right.
Definitely got to, like, hone it in. But after that, like, what was it like? What was your experience like? Just breaking into maybe just even like the greater Pittsburgh scene, like, just even while you were in college, like and maybe after.
Yeah. So, most DJ stuff happens at like bars.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I couldn't go to that for a while. I mean, most things are pretty like even non-bar stuff is like pretty like strictly 21 plus.
For real? Non-bar stuff?
Yeah. So it really depends. Like some of the DIY venues, of course, will not be as
sure, like strict on.
But like the Oakland DIY venues, mostly like punk.
Okay.
And like indie and like shoegaze and like bands, which I love pulling up to that stuff too.
What's shoegaze?
So that's like, oh my god, it's probably going to be a shoegaze fan watching this. I'm going to butcher the definition, but that's like it's it's same setup as like a punk band, right? Guitarist, bassist, vocalist, drummer, but they do like it's very like atmospheric. They use like a lot of pedals on their guitars to like make like weird effects. That's where the name comes from. Shoegaze is you're like standing there like pressing your pedal board,
gazing
just like looking at your shoes the whole time. Yeah.
Shoes. That's crazy.
So that's where it comes from.
That's hard though. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But yeah. So like I mean, you pretty much just couldn't DJ like 80% of the joints just because like they were 21 up and you weren't 21 yet.
Yeah. And that was a big thing. And and I just didn't really know anyone. I didn't know them like well enough.
Yeah, right.
Even when I get to know them, it's like I'm still like this.
Well, like I just met you.
I'm still like this kid. Like
I'm
DJing. Yeah. So yeah. But no, I mean since then I made a lot of great friends with like people in the scene, like great DJs.
Yeah. I mean, like, how did you like initially deal with that? Like,
I would just like go out to things. Just honestly, not even hoping to get like gigs, just like hoping to hear a DJ I liked, and I'd be like, I'm gonna go talk to this person, I'm gonna make friends with them.
Yeah.
Like if they were playing some good tracks, like I feel like we should know each other because I'm also playing good tracks.
If you was playing ass, Kingston ain't want to meet you. So if Kingston ain't talk to you that night, you was playing some bullshit. Yeah. That's funny. So okay, but no, I mean, like, bro. Again, like, and just even as like a young person, it's like just for like a context. How old are you?
I'm 22.
20 fucking dude. I'll
be turning 23
crazy.
in December.
That's fucking crazy. But like, bro, like, I mean, what else do you? I mean, to even have the confidence to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people can't even do that. So it's just like, I mean, you're coming to the scene, don't really know anybody. Like, there's really only one way to go about it. So
yeah, I mean, so much of that is like going out to stuff.
Exactly.
It, like just like spending time thinking about like, okay, like what did I like about this night? What didn't I like about it? Like what control did the host have of the atmosphere? What what parts didn't they have control of? Just
Right.
like trying to figure out what makes a good party, but like also
Facts.
like what makes a good party in Pittsburgh. Because what makes a good party in Pittsburgh, not necessarily going to be what makes a good party in Detroit or what makes a
Absolutely.
good party in New York. There's a lot of overlap, but I mean, there's
100%.
still cultural differences.
100%, bro.
so-
And I agree with you 100%. So like when you were even networking with these DJs like initially, like were they receptive? Were they just kind of like I can't imagine anyone's like, yo, fuck off, kid. You know what I mean? But
no.
like nah, but just like how like receptive, like were they like? Did you find it easy to like network initially, or like?
Yeah, absolutely. I've like never run into anyone here. I was like, like just based on like that first meet, I'm like,
Right.
oh, like fuck this person.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean?
Facts,
So,
which is good,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I don't think you really get too much of that in Pittsburgh. Like I feel like if you pull up on really
Yeah.
anybody,
Yeah, no, most
like, you at
people
least
in
get that,
Pittsburgh.
like, initial, I mean, like, oh,
yeah, most
yo.
people in Pittsburgh are pleasant. They'll talk to you.
Facts,
like,
yeah.
So
Nah, facts. So just as far as your show, right, with WRCT, right?
mhm.
When did that come into play for you? And I know the title is Lickwood Means Rewind, correct?
That's right.
So if you just want to talk about the origins of the name and then when that came into play for you as far as having your own show.
Yeah. So I was just like totally fucking around on getting a show.
And just for context, really quickly, not to cut you off, WRCT, that is a radio station ran out of CMU, correct?
Yes.
And it broadcast out of CMU, and then obviously like about 15 miles outside of like the radius of CMU, correct?
Yeah.
About
I should know the exact.
I mean, but like roughly,
yeah.
like, and this is like
you can
super
get
grain
it
of salt.
anywhere like in the city or the close area.
Right.
You can definitely get it. That's 88.3 FM on your dial. Or you can tune in online from anywhere in the world at WRCT.org.
Dude, and like just to like obviously not to make it about myself, but to make it about myself for like 10 seconds.
No, go for it, please.
Like no, bro, like, and the reason I can like even kind of connect on that note with you is because like I did student radio in college myself. Like I wasn't a DJ or nothing like that, but I would just have my own show. Shout out to Trevor, man, Trevor Hayes. He's taking pictures for the Eagles last time I checked. Now, so shout out to Trevor, man. But me and Trevor had this spot was from like 9 to 10, and like we were just talking about hip hop, bullshit, like pop culture, all that stuff. So I know how instrumental that can be for even, and I wasn't even doing that thing like I was gonna be a podcast host at like any point. I was just doing it just because like I fucked with it. I like hip hop. I like to talk shit. Being crack jokes, like whatever. So and it's just ironic that like I ended up being a podcast host. But I say all that to say like I know how it was very it was dope because I was able to find something like I could sink my teeth into as far as like interest and creativity and like just something like that let me be myself. Mm-hmm. So I know how pivotal that can be. You know what I mean? Like finding something like that. So I just want you to speak to like, what that whole situation meant for you. If it did anything at all, you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like even before I had my show, like stuff was still kind of slow in there, like just because I think, even after they lifted some of like the COVID restrictions and stuff,
right? Like
it kind of took a while for like social things at the station to happen. Even just like members like thinking about like, oh, like it's between classes, like, I mean, I got like 2 hours or something between classes. Like their first thoughts, maybe were like, oh, I'm just gonna go hang out in WRCT. But we eventually rebuilt that culture. Like,
right.
People come and hang out now, and it's doing great. But I would go down there if I was feeling bored between classes, and like it would be no one, and the CDJs would be open. So I would just spend like hours and hours and hours playing.
That's dope. At what point in college did you find out about it?
So I think the first time I got into the station physically, which would have been maybe fall or spring 2021, if not definitely by fall 2021 I had been in there physically.
Okay. So like like a sophomore?
Yeah,
okay,
sophomore.
okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, where were we going with it?
We're just talking about the origins of like Lickwood Means Rewind, like
that's right.
Just pretty much like your whole introduction to like WRCT and all that.
Yeah. So I kind of dragged ass getting a show because I knew I wanted to like mix on air.
Okay.
but like I didn't want to be whack, especially because I had like the CDJs. Like there's no excuse to like your transitions to be whack.
Damn,
You got
that's crazy.
the little computer in there helping you out. So
right.
I wanted to make sure I was really good, and then I finally got my show. I think I started fall of my junior year. So the name comes from. Are you familiar with Cuddy Ranks, dancehall artist?
Nah, I'm not hip.
Have you heard the song "Limb by Limb"?
Limb by Limb. I'm a wrestling nerd. The only song I know about that is Shayna Baszler's theme song. That's shit is Limb by Limb. But nah, I don't.
No, but I mean that's a big song of his. But he has another tune called "The Stopper," and specifically there's a remix of "The Stopper." I think it's like the main attraction mix or something. Has like a part where like it's just like, all the drums come out and like, everything comes out. And it's just a sample of like an MC at I'm sure some dance hall event. I tried to look up what the origin is. I don't think I could find it.
Totally, yeah.
But he goes, Lickwood means rewind. A gunshot means forward. You requested it, so we rewind.
Oh shit, that's the fucking sample off of
It's a Drake song. I know. Yeah.
6 Man.
I forget. I knew he sampled
6 Man or 6 God.
I think it's that one. 6 God. Yeah.
One of the 6s. No. We recorded it, so we rewind.
Yeah.
No, thanks, yeah. No, but that's crazy. So you heard like the OG song.
Yeah,
I didn't even hear that. That's crazy.
So Lickwood means rewind. Basically what that means is like at like the rave or the dance or something, the DJ plays a song everyone's rocking with. They start like hitting the steel and smacking the wall. That means like liquid to like hit like the wood of like the wall. Yeah. So that means rewind. They want the DJ to literally rewind the record, start it back over.
There we go. That's
so
crazy.
and that's what like I was playing genres that incorporated that into their culture, like spawned from sound clash culture, which originated those terms. So and I like to rewind the record if it's good, even if it's just me in the studio.
Fucking rewind the fucking fuck that. Kingston likes to rewind the fucking record, bro. Big Cashew shit. Fuck that.
Pull that up. Bring it back. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And the second half of that phrase, a gunshot means forward. People put like their gun fingers in the air, or like back in the day, literally shoot their guns. Which they don't really do that anymore. That's dangerous.
Transitioned from that. From that era.
Just gun fingers. Just gun fingers.
Yeah. Right. Just the fingers. Right.
But rewind basically.
You said you were dragging ass like getting the show like what? Because like I remember like bro, like the only reason I even found out about this in your radio shit, bro, I was on a bus coming back from some vibe, some way, just like some function, and like I met the dude that runs that slot like that show on the fucking bus back home. Okay. And he's like, yo, bro, like we were just talking, like he's like, yo, hit me up if you want to focus. I was just like, okay. And I met him on the bus, and like I ended up, that's my sophomore year, and like I did it all the way up to graduation my senior year. So I'm just like, so like for you, as far as like did you just not, were you just like bullshitting? Like I know like you kind of like maybe in your own head, because like you said like you didn't want to be whacked. So like was it just like a little bit of that, or? Yeah, it was a little bit of that, and just like forgetting to schedule a test to, like, you have to take a test to go on the air. Okay. Because like there's certain FCC regulations you got to follow. Exactly, like you gotta like do station ID at the top of the hour. You got to read PSAs. You got to read promos. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I was very poorly organized by that point. So I just like I was already behind in school, and I was like, I can't worry about this. So I get like my shit together with like school and get better at DJing. So. I mean that's basically okay. And so like when you finally got your show, was it just a matter of you taking the test? Yeah. Okay. So I took the air test. I passed. And I picked Thursday night at 10:30. Okay. Which would probably sound odd. You picked that time. Yeah. Wow. But the music I play like is nighttime music. Like it's club music. It's rave music. I played jazz and I played dub on there too. Okay. And to me, it's all very like nighttime music. So like that's one part of it, and because of that, I didn't want to do it on like a Friday or Saturday, because I'm like, and like I want to go out too. So like I figured like Thursday night would be good, because like I know like some Pitt students don't have classes on Friday. Like maybe people like their work starts later, they don't work on Friday or something like that. So I was like, I can do it like late at night, kind of close to the weekend. Like I feel like that's kind of like the best vibe for this show. Right.
I hope the Uber drivers are listening. If I'm being honest, that's who I'm playing to every night.
Yeah, right.
Is the Uber drivers and the
Facts.
Lyft drivers and the taxi drivers.
Yeah.
If y'all are still out there,
Type
shout
shit,
out,
right, yeah.
shout out to all the drivers.
Any of the drivers, you know what I mean? Like you were just, trying to appeal to, which, I mean, I completely understand. So, like, I mean, and was it just you pretty much mixing on the show?
Yeah, it was just me playing, like, mixing, playing my music, yeah.
Facts. And then when did you decide to bring other people on and, like, have the guest, features? And, like, I know your dad even fucking DJed on, like, at one point, which is fucking crazy. So, yeah, like, when did you introduce the prospect of bringing on other people?
Yeah, so I was definitely inspired by my friend who I mentioned earlier, Charlotte, a.k.a. Malcolm Threat. They had a show called Back to Business that they did for one semester.
Dope, okay.
Which, like, B2B. So it was them going, like, B2B with another DJ. And I was on the show once. But, yeah, what, like, really got me inspired to do is she brought Ron Mist for the first installment. And I was there, like, at the studio when they came in. So that was, like, my first time having seen Ron Mist since I met him at that Eden party.
Okay. That's crazy. How was that reunion? That's crazy.
That was a good reunion, man.
Yeah.
It was, and I really am forgetting who the first guest I had on. I'm guessing it's Ron Mist. If I had to take a shot in the dark, probably Ron Mist. But yeah, I just like, I was there. Charlotte was doing the show, and like they were going back and forth with the songs. I was like, wow, this is like really fun. And then I remembered I was like, oh yeah, like Ron Mist has got some shit too. Like he's a good DJ too. So I was like this is something I want to do on my podcast. I remember I like Ron Mist as DJ, or I said podcast, radio show. I remember I like Ron Mist as DJ, so like I'm gonna get him on. So I'm pretty sure that was the first guest. Yeah.
So like when with that setup, like would you just like have two people battle, or like would you would they just mix for like the slot?
Yeah. So I usually just have the guest on. They'll play like 2, 3, 4 tracks. I'll play like a couple tracks. So we'll just like do that for like the whole night.
That's hard as fuck. Yeah.
It's a battle if you want to think about it like that, but
ish, yeah, I mean, just like friendly competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just keep the sword sharp.
Yeah, no, and once I started doing that, I was like, okay, like this is like a great way for me to like, get, like these DJs that I'm meeting to come hang out with me and hear my selection, and they'll know I'm not whack.
Yeah, interesting.
You know what I mean? And I'll get to hear their selection too. Like I'll get to learn some
shit. See what y'all are about. Shit.
And it's just really fun to like go like track for track with people. That's just absolutely. Like, because they like oftentimes they'll fill in the gaps that are in your collection. You'll fill in the gaps that are in their collection. You'll end up making like a really beautiful
symbiotic type of
absolutely. Just the energy that you feed off each other.
How was it having your dad on for like that one episode?
That was great.
Yeah,
that was really good. He pulled out some shit, man. I gotta upload that. He played some crazy tunes,
bro.
It was like one of the few times on my show where I was like, I don't know if I could keep up. I don't know if I can keep up.
He was on it like that, like.
Yeah, no, he pulled some cool stuff. But I mean, I pulled my weight. I had some tunes.
Apple don't fall far from the tree,
Absolutely.
Like, bro, you know whose son you are. You know what I mean? He knows whose son you are. Like he's like, all right, I know you about to pull some shit out, but that's sort of like, what was it like for him to just kind of see how you evolved as like you're interested in like DJing and mixing and all that stuff. Like, is he just like, yo, bro, like. Rock the fuck on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he was definitely. I could tell he was proud for sure.
That's hard. Yeah.
Our family friend Frank came through and he was hanging out too. And I remember I played a song about like an artist that he had previously called Whack. And I was like, "Yo, Frank, do you like the song?" He was like, "Yeah, it's a good one." I was like, "That's by that artist you said that was whack."
Who was the artist?
No, I don't want to say. I don't want to get him in trouble. I don't want to get him in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble.
No worries.
No one local though. No.
Yeah. Okay. Word. All right. But that's not.
But it's a smaller artist. Okay, I don't.
Yeah. No. And like just like you even kind of just like segued into like that whole my next question here, but. Like, what has it been like? And like, you said that these people aren't necessarily like local all the time. Like, they're from, just abroad. Like,
that was a really cool thing about CMU. I was meeting people from like all over the world.
Of course, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of Chinese students. There's a lot of Korean students. A lot of Indian students. Met a couple European students for sure. Various, Europe's not a country yet, but like, there's some like, there's some Spanish people. There's some like, British people. I met some people from like, various countries like South and Central America too. So like, yeah.
What was it like just like networking with all these people, just for the purposes of the show? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, so I don't really have much CMU people on the show.
Yeah,
I know I had
I
had Lotus Land on the show before.
Yeah, just like not even like CMU based, but just like as far as like you running the show, like, and it's like you networking with you know like seeing Rob missed again. And, like,
yeah. So I'm trying to think who would have been the next guest I would have had. Okay, next guest. Another story, another big show. There used to be I'm gonna bring it back, but it'll tie back in. There used to be a venue called Collision over in Homewood.
Okay.
And it was just like an abandoned warehouse that some people had bought and just turned into like a DIY music venue. And it was, I think at the time, it was like the only warehouse space that was doing that in Pittsburgh. I could be wrong because like sometimes they pop up, you know. But that was like a really, really cool spot because they would have like whatever there, like any style, noise, punk, electronic, hip hop. I remember one time they did a Homewood Day show and they had a bunch of like bunch of just strictly Homewood people playing. There was like rappers and producers and singers. And I had to miss that show unfortunately, but I was like really sad. I just had something going on that night. I just couldn't make it. Okay, but I really wish I had gone to that. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so Collision. I had seen, I think the first like rave I went to, the first thing that you could like call a rave that I went to was there. Had to have been sophomore year. I went with some WRCT people. Okay. And have you heard of the artist Machine Girl?
No. You put me on to like, bro, a whole bunch of this episode.
Yeah, Machine Girl's really good. They kind of do like weird, just like fast rave stuff. They kind of do like, they have like some footwork stuff. They have like some like jungle-y stuff, but they make like punk stuff too. Like they're kind of all over the place. Interesting. But I think it's a duo. Okay. Sometimes they do so like, I think when it's like the electronic, it's just the one dude, but then like if it's like the punk, it's him and another guy.
Okay, word, all right.
But it was just the one guy DJing that night. He was the headliner. And like I was listening to like one of the other DJs, you know, who was on before him, and he started playing like some jungle stuff and like some other just like weird breakbeat stuff. And then I saw people start like they were like moving to it. Like people were like they were like, you know, moshing a little bit, and I was like, that was like a really good moment for me. Like they gave me like validation that I was like, okay, like it's not just in my head. Like like jungle music has got like this energy, and people are gonna react that's what I'm saying.
To it. Like it has like a movement behind it, right?
Yeah, and then like, you know, he would play some shit that wasn't jungle, and the crowd like wasn't as hyped. I was like, you should play more jungle, man. So, you know, not only hearing jungle in a rave context, like for the first time, but also being in that space, it was really cool. I was like, that was my goal from that moment. I was like, okay, my next goal as a DJ is to play a Collision.
But no, bro, like I was even going to say, like, even speaking of raves, but like you low-key started your own.
Wait, what?
You low-key like well, I don't know if it's necessarily a
like
rave
my own party.
per
yeah,
se.
no, sorry, I just didn't hear what you said.
No, it's a party, but like it's a rave. It's called Chemistry.
Chemistry, that's right.
You co-created it with and forgive me if I am mispronouncing her name, but Zykisa. I am so sorry, Zykisa.
And I'm gonna get to that because that also had its origins in this, in the night.
Go ahead. Say no more.
What were we talking about?
I'm talking about like just
Where
like
did we leave off?
like you're talking about this rave
That's right. Yeah, they were playing jungle.
Yeah, facts.
And so I was like, yeah, so that's my next goal. A couple months down the line, man, I wish I could have a better timeline on this.
It's cool, man. I mean, it happened like, a while ago.
I want to say maybe like winter junior year.
Okay.
Person that's a WRCT member, ex-student. They were a student, but now they graduated, but they still have their show.
Facts.
Also plays drum and bass music. That's Daria. Shout out to Daria.
Facts.
Forget what Daria's DJ name is. But Daria hits me up, and they're like, yo, like, a friend of mine's, planning a show at Collision. Do you want to play? I was like, yes, of course.
Right.
So this is kind of a weirder one. I don't think I've seen another show at Collision that was kind of like this. It was the person that was hosting the show, their name is Gabriel.
Okay.
And they're in a band called... What is the name of their band? It's a good name, too.
It's a great name.
Really pissed I'm blanking on it. I don't know. Can I just tell you later and you'll throw it up on the screen?
Yeah,
right there.
I mean,
Glamphibians. There it goes. Glamphibians.
Okay, there we go. So one didn't have to do that. Yeah.
So Glamphibians is a show. They're like, so what they wanted was DJ, then the Glammphibians play.
Okay.
Then another DJ plays, and then the Glammphibians play again.
Okay.
So just like that all night.
Okay.
So it was the Glammphibians. It was me and Daria, a DJ that plays under the name Flip, I believe, and Zykisa
Okay.
for the DJ's book for the night.
Okay.
And that's when I met Zykisa. And I think I had seen Zykisa play once before.
Okay.
And I knew they were playing like some music that I liked, but I didn't get a chance to like say what's up to them that night. I think that was at the Deli, R.I.P. the Deli, great venue.
Bro, so many like it's just because like I only moved to Pittsburgh like 3 years ago, so it's like I'm hearing all these events and it's like it doesn't exist anymore, but it was super dope. I'm just like damn, like shit, like some of the super dope shit just like don't be around over, which is kind of ass. I'm just like damn, that sucks. I'm mad I missed that, but yeah, my phone, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And like it came to my set. I think Zykisa was the last DJ scheduled to play.
Okay.
And I was the second to last. So
okay.
Came to my set, and like I'm doing what I do.
Sure,
I started off with like, it was kind of nice because like going after the band, the energy in the room is yours to do what you want with.
Fair.
So I could have started wherever. First song I played was Evelyn Champagne King.
There you go. No,
it's either Love Come Down or I'm in Love. Is one of those two.
Love Come Down.
I think it was I'm in Love that I played. I think it was I'm in Love.
I'm trying to tell you what song you played. I said, no, it was Love Come Down. But that's the only
you were there,
right? But that's the only Evelyn Champagne King song I know. So I'm just
both great tunes, though.
No, facts,
like,
absolutely. Sure.
Both killers. So, that's what I started with. And then I moved into UK Garage. And then I'm sure I played some drill. Big New York drill fan. Definitely played some other hip hop. I know I played some footwork, and I definitely played some jungle, too. So,
do you feel like, were you surprised like that the crowd was necessarily still with you? Like, were they tired? Did you like sense like they were, because like you were like second to last, so like I know like the crowd was maybe kind of,
so I think the crowd was at its peak at that point, but this was also a relatively smaller show as far as it goes. I think like by the time I got on, there was maybe like 30 people, maybe like 30 to 40 people were there, and it was maybe like 15, 20 kind of milling around the dance floor area, and then they had like an ambient room there too, so there was certainly people chilling there.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any acts going on in the ambient room. Sometimes there was at that place, but the people were definitely fucking with it. The people that were there, I definitely got like a lot of compliments afterward.
Fair,
I saw some people. I have a bad habit of like not looking up
when you're DJing.
Like I'm mostly looking down. Like I'm looking at the crowd, like with my eyes, but I'm not like moving my head up. So like, you got to see what they're doing. Like, are they not moving?
Yeah,
like,
right,
okay, you definitely got to play something else. But like, even if there's just like a little sense of movement, I'm like, okay, like I'm good enough. And that was earlier on too. So like my sense of like how to control a dance floor's energy was still not like as developed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably still like my biggest weakness.
You think
sometimes like I'll get in a groove, and then I'll just play a tune that was not like that did not carry on the energy the way I had hoped, and I was like, oh.
Well, bro, do you want to know what's crazy? At least you fucking know that, bro. Yeah. Like there's some dudes will like that'll do that, and then like look at y'all like right? Fuck with that, and it's just like, nigga, no, play that shit that you were just playing. Like what you doing? Like so like at least you have that self awareness there. You know? What is the? Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
No, you got a question?
Well, I was just gonna say like, what is like the biggest show that like you've played? Like, what's like the biggest crowd like you've played for?
I think it was at the Deli.
Damn.
I think it was at the Deli. So the Deli was a house venue in Oakland, also on Bay Street, a little bit further up from where Eden was.
Okay.
And they had a huge like backyard, not a yard. There was like, I think this was like a house split up into two apartments, and there was two garages behind it, like just a really big driveway, basically behind. And they had like a deck, so like the DJ booth was like up on the deck, and that's like overlooking the dance floor area. And they packed like a lot of people. There had to be like 100 people there.
Damn.
Just all packed in like that back area.
Yeah, it probably felt like 200.
It felt huge.
Yeah.
And that crowd was great. They came out to dance for sure.
I love that.
Yes, it's not all the time like you get like a crowd and like everyone there is just on the same like, okay, we're here to just like wild out and like have a great time.
Yeah.
And I was playing, they were responding to like all the stuff that I was playing that I was hoping that they would respond to.
Yeah.
I played this song called Why Do You Feel by Moody Man.
Okay.
Which is like, it's a deep house cut. It's like real deep. like not a lot really going on, but it's just got this unbelievably huge kick drum.
Yeah.
Just so massive. I listen to that song all the time. And I'm like, how do you get the kick drum like this?
Yeah, right.
But I had to mosh into that, which is like, if you know Moody Man, like moshing to Moody Man is preposterous. So like, I was like, okay, I could take them anywhere I want, and I did.
Yeah.
So
no, bro. So like, shout out to that. So how did that parlay in the chemistry and like you and
yeah. So going back to the Collision show,
yeah, thanks.
Zykeesa comes up to me during my set. And there's just like they're showing I had talked to them a little bit beforehand. I was like, oh, like I saw you DJ at the deli, like it was dope. And we were just talking about, just like music. And they were like, yeah, like we should work together sometime. And so I think the next time I saw them after that Collision show, I had them come on my radio show.
Dope. Okay.
And like Zykeesa, also a big jungleist.
Okay.
Big jungle head. Also, like we had like a really big overlap in terms of like genres that we liked. So we just played like mostly jungle for like that hour and a half.
Did you find that out? Like when, like during her set, pretty much like, oh, like you fuck with jungle too. Like, did you know prior to that?
I can't remember if they played much jungle during their set.
Okay.
But I think we did talk about it for sure because they commented on like the jungle that I was playing. So, we got on. We were playing jungle on the show, and like after we were going B2B, just playing like crazy tunes. I liked every tune they played. They were like every tune I played, and I was like, yo, we should do like a jungle night together. And that was it. They were like, oh, like quote, oh, that would eat. So that's what they said. They were into it. So
that's hilarious.
And so we got we picked a name. The name was like Zykeesa's idea. My idea was like, I'm gonna name it after like a jungle song that I like because I don't even remember some of the songs that I thought would be like there were some like decent ones in there, but it's like Zykeesa had mentioned a DJ by the name of Chemistry, spelled like the same way it's spelled as a part of the duo Chemistry and Storm, like big like early jungle pioneers. They're like they were on the Metalheads label, which is like huge for jungle back in the day. It was like really big label. And they were fans of like their work, and like they were talking about how like the DJ Chemistry was like one of like the most prominent like black women in the scene at the time as well. Yeah. And they wanted to honor that, and I was like, that sounds good, and like that's a dope name too for like a party. And it also kind of fit in because like we eventually, like we were like, okay, we definitely want it to be like a jungle focused party, but we don't only want to have jungle. We want to have like house, we want to have Baltimore club, we want to have like hip hop. And so like, all those things kind of like interacting with each other is kind of like you're doing a little like musical chemistry. So like, it works out. And so that's how we came to Chemistry.
Was that like the first event that you kind of put together?
Yeah, that was like the first event where I was like, I guess outside of like a WRCT one.
Yeah, right.
Because I was on the exec board for WRCT. So like anytime there's like WRCT function, I would go help out. But like that was like the first one where it was like just me and like another person, just like totally our creative control. And we did that at Mixtape in Garfield. Okay. And we had like over 100 people come out for the first one.
Dude, that's crazy, bro. What the fuck? That's wild.
So it was us two, and two other DJs, Icy Pisces, and XC17. Okay. Both fantastic selectors. Yeah. It was a great night. Everyone came out, had a lot of fun. We were able, everyone was able to take a good paycheck home. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's crazy. So, like, what do you think? Or just like, what did y'all do getting the word out, or like, what was the effort like in just like getting the word? Because like 100+ people to your first event is insane, bro. Like that's
it was kind of like a confluence of like just good a good situation, or like good
well, like right place, right time.
Yeah, right place, right time. So it was in the middle of July. Okay. There were no other parties that night. Like we got like Icy Pisces and XC17 and Zykeesa. They kind of already had like fans too, like people that would come out to see them pretty reliably.
No, I heard of Icy.
Yeah. And I printed out flyers, and I gave a bunch to people I knew. I left some at record stores, but I was just walking around Garfield one day, just like handing them out to me. I would be like, hey, like, do you fuck with electronic music? And if they say yes, I'd be like, hey, look, we got this thing going on like right down the streit. On Friday, like pull through, and
Kingston walking around in Garfield with flyers is crazy.
And I'm not sure if anyone from that came. There was, I mean, it was it was a crazy night. So
yeah, facts.
but there was definitely some people that were really excited that I handed them a flyer for like electronic music party, and they were like, "Oh, like I really like this." So
Yeah, facts. I mean, like how, like you know, after or like you know, even during that event, like what's going through your head? How did it go? Like
it was just so I opened. I was happy to open because like, you know, hosting the party, like, you know, I still like didn't have as much experience as everyone else on the bill, so I was like, you know, I'll open. And there's great fun in opening, by the way. Like if you're a beginner DJ, like, do not feel bad about opening up for a party because there's a lot of opportunities to just do like cool stuff. Just being able to like set the vibe first, like, you know, people like come in, like people that get there early and they're like, okay, like I'm gonna be at this party for a while, like, you know, they don't want to hear anything whack when they're walking in. So like,
yeah, facts.
You know, opening is actually a pretty big responsibility. So feel no shame in opening.
Absolutely, no, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, and we try to give the guests the best spots too, like the time where there's most people going to show up.
Right. Yeah, facts.
And yeah, like, you know, after my set, you know, there was you know, some people there and they were grooving, but you know, people started really to like pile in by the time Icy Pisces got on.
Okay.
And I was just like, there was a bunch of people dancing, having a great time, and I was just like, I can't believe that like we put together a dope party, like as you know, like just an idea to just, you know, play jungle music for people,
right?
You know, see what happens, and you know, other related stuff, and yeah, people loved it. So
dog, just with seeing like Mike work at times, is just like, you know, putting together his events, bro. Like, I know it's a stressful racket. That shit is not, you know, I mean, that shit is not for the faint of heart. So like, I mean, when you were putting this shit together with Zykisa, like, what was some of like, you know, the hurdles, some of like the shit that you maybe, or like shit that like people ain't necessarily tell you when you're putting together your own event?
Yeah, so I like, believe it or not, that event actually was pretty smooth in terms of the setup.
So after that,
I guess I was like most concerned. I was like, you know, are we gonna make enough money to like, you know, I would be like so sad if I was like, you know, to the guest DJs like, sorry, so we only made like $60 tonight. So like, but I mean, we made enough to pay everyone like $100. All the DJs $100.
Great,
right?
Yeah. But you were there, right? Like, yeah.
No, I mean, we made enough to pay, like, I think all four of us walked away with a little over $100, which is like, that's like pretty solid for just like, and Mixtape's like not a big club either. Yeah. So like, yeah, that was like really good for that night.
Hey, bro, that's not like, bro, it's better than fucking zero, dog, right?
Yeah.
So like, just like even coming off like the momentum of that, like, and just even, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Like, how did you go about finding the DJs for that event too?
So I had seen Icy Pisces play at a event thrown by the U-Haul Disco crew. Shout out to U-Haul Disco. Johnny Zoloft and Samira Mendoza, but they put on a show called. They've done a couple like in this theme. It was either called like Squirt. There's been Squirt, Slurp, and Sploosh.
I'm 13.
I forget which one it is. I mean, they're thinking the same way you are. Like, you know, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Yeah.
Right,
but it was, I forget which one was first. But it was like the first one of like that series of parties that they had been throwing. And it was under the 40th Street Bridge in Lawrenceville. Daytime party. Just really great. Like, I remember being there. I was like, this is what like a Pittsburgh party like should be, like, you know, down by the river underneath the bridge, like great ass music on the sound system, and they had like a barber pull up, they had like art vendors and stuff, so it was really great. I think there was food trucks too.
That's hard.
But Icy Pisces played, and they were playing like ghetto tech, they were playing like good house that I liked, they were playing like some footwork and some jungle, and I was like, okay, like I definitely got to I mean, I think I introduced myself to all the DJs that played that day, but I remember Icy Pisces set stood out because they played Feel My Motherfucking Bass by Paul Johnson, I'm guessing. I don't know. I kind of sometimes forget artist names. Yeah. But I was like, okay, that's one of my favorite tunes. Like, I made sure to tell them. I was like, you play one of my favorite tunes tonight. So that's how we connected. And Zykisa had already known Icy Pisces. Yeah. So like that's what, like, you know, we were like, okay, like, you gotta throw them on the bill. And XC17, I don't believe I had met prior to that night, but was one of Zykisa's friends as well, and they were like, yeah, like they were playing like some cool shit, so yeah, so that's how we decided on that bill.
No, bro, listen, and it's like, The fact that you're even turning 23 in December, I can't, bro. Your future is mad bright, bro. And look, this conversation has been super dope.
Absolutely.
Bro, thank you so much for coming on, Kingston. Really appreciate
Thank you so much
man.
for having me.
Listen, man, this is like, the point in the pod where the floor is yours. So, just kind of, tell people where they can find you if you want to be found, if you're doing anything, as far as DJing, where that will be. But brother, thank you so much again for taking the time, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
For sure, bro.
This little platform.
My man, no problem, bro.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram, Big Cashew 412. The numbers 412. We'll put it on the screen here, I'm sure. I think that's the only social I use to like promote my music. If you want to email me, please do not DM me for bookings. I have had issues with that in the past. The email's in the bio of my Instagram, but it's bigcashewmusic@gmail.com. Please hit me for that for booking. Less issues. I want to give a shout out to my girlfriend Heidi, who's in Japan right now.
Hard.
I know. Like, I'm jealous. Riding bullet trains, getting like the best ramen she's ever had in her life. So I'm mad jealous. But yeah, shout out to Heidi. You can find her on Instagram, Heidi Tilly Eats. She's got a food account, reviews great restaurants in the city. So check that out.
They want to know where can they find the chemistry page at?
Chemistry. Oh, yes. Chemistry is chemistry. That's KEMISTRY, then a period, and then the numbers 412. So chemistry.412. And that's how you can find. And I'll post about all the chemistry parties on my page. We haven't done one in a while, just because Zykeisa actually moved to LA in like December or January, and then I was in my last semester of school. Yeah. And then after that, I was trying to find jobs. But Zykeisa's done one in LA, so we're a multi-party city, multi-city party now. So
that's hard, man.
Yeah. But something coming up. I'm trying to get something together for mid-July, but not sure how it's shaping up. The venue I'm trying to hit up's being like a little like not responding. So
interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
try to figure something out. But yeah, watch out for that,
bro. We got Kingston Cox in the building, man.
Yes,
MIC podcast, give me episode 122, where everyone is a master of their own creation. Kingston Cox in the fucking building, aka the Big Cashew. And stop DMing the Big Cashew, man. Hit that email, bro. We're out. Peace.
Woo.